Welcome to episode 3,
Holla!
Vigilante-Verse. Dan, Chris, and Sonig.
Hi guys, what's up?
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Welcome to another Friday
Great.
podcast.
What a great week in the DC, CW,
Yeah,
TV.
good episodes this week.
I'm
not gonna
excited to
lie.
talk about
Yeah,
them.
Yeah,
definitely.
I am too. I actually enjoyed a lot of the episodes this week.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have told you this. I had another fun question for you guys if you wanted another
Oh,
one.
great.
Oh, great.
We've
Here's
been talking
another
for an
one.
hour before
No,
this, so
I
now
don't
Dan's
know
like,
what-
I got a
We've
question.
It's
been in
fine, we don't have-
pre-production, Dan, and now you
don't-
say it.
I totally forgot. We don't have to do it. It's fine.
No, we'll do it later.
What's your question?
It was just a trivia question on the Flash.
Well, we'll get to it when we talk about Flash. How's
Okay,
that?
that's fine.
That
Trivia.
works?
Trivia. Yeah.
Trivia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
yeah.
Episode 3 again, Vigilante-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to say, thank you to all the views. With the 2 episodes combined, we're over 100 views.
I know. Thank you
So
guys
that's
so much.
actually pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice. Some people have been listening, and I know friends of ours have been getting in touch and asking questions and saying
Comments
which
galore.
voice is yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably keep doing that pre-production live thing too on
Yeah,
Instagram.
it's just funny when we did it because like there was 3 viewers because everyone's at work and we're like, oh wait
Yeah,
a
we're
minute,
like, we don't
we're in
know.
the mid-work week.
Somebody could be streaming that to a TV, and it could be a room full of people watching.
Right,
it. We don't
right.
know
That-
who's actually doing it.
It could
yet.
actually be
True.
like 50
Yeah.
Very
people.
scary
Could be
to think
pirate.
about it.
You know, these days you never know.
All right, so let's jump into Supergirl.
Yes. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Dan, are you participating in Supergirl or
You should join in. Just
just chime in?
you're not. You haven't seen the episode, right?
No, I am literally. I've watched so much Supergirl in the past like couple weeks. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, how you liking her?
I really like the show. It's really good.
If
and
you're
he
in
had
season,
doubts.
yeah, and if
I'm-
you're in season 2, you're hanging out at the bar.
Yeah, the bar a
you know.
lot.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of season 2. I could tell you what just happened. What I just saw. Kara just got fired from Catco.
Oh yeah.
Mon-El and Kara going out, which is like okay.
Amazing.
Welcome
Ah.
to welcome to Supergirl.
Come on,
So,
I love them
I need
together.
to catch up.
gonna talk about
this is
that.
another
Yeah.
thing we talked about but I was like all ready to talk about Supergirl by next Friday easily.
Yeah.
But apparently Chris brought up the bad news today is that it's
yeah.
not coming back till
Chris,
April.
Chris, the bad news.
Yeah,
Spill
April.
It.
I wrote it down. April
16th.
16th.
That's a long
That's
time.
crazy.
Long time.
That
You
is
have to wait that long?
We are not even at mid-February, and it comes back April 16th.
it's literally
so-
2 months. Like
Yeah.
Literally
that's
2 months.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was so ready next week to be like, all
I
right,
know.
I know it.
They, you
we're
know what? They
good.
did it just because of that.
I think
Dan.
that's what it was. They were like, Dan.
They were like, Dan
we
is
don't
now
want-
caught up. We are gonna go on hiatus
what
for 2
happened.
months.
Well, it'll be
But,
nice because you'll be able to think about it, and
Yeah, and
there's
you'll
no
be caught
rush.
up.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you rush to finish a show, you can miss the details. Now you can
Yeah.
watch it like an episode a night or whatever.
Right.
And,
And,
take your
and
time.
honestly, I've been watching like average probably like 3 episodes a day because I've been just like, I need to catch up. And now it's just like, okay, I can
now
watch
you're like, I got 2 months.
I got so. I honestly, I don't agree with the 2-month break. I think that's way too long for a show. Like it's not even a winter break. It's literally just
What can
I
you
mean,
do?
Technically, it is winter break for them.
yeah. They come back
but-
like mid-April.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just
Well-
the way it is.
Time flies, You'll see how.
Let's see. Let's
no,
hope.
really, you'll be watching the other
does.
shows. Legends comes back.
Yeah,
next
Legends
week.
comes back on Monday. That's gonna
Yeah.
be
Monday,
exciting.
So
Yep.
we'll be focused with other
Yeah.
things,
But anyway, yes.
But
talk
yeah,
about,
let's
talk about the
dive
episode.
into this week's episode of Supergirl. So
Please,
Chris,
yeah.
you go for it. Let's start it off.
This episode actually begins with one of the best openings I've seen because you see Supergirl. I'm talking about the actual beginning of the episode begins with the shot of a hood of a car where you see the reflection of Supergirl flying in the air. Then she comes out of the air, lands in front of you. Then Mon-El, everybody kind of joins up, and it's a really cool
It is a cool
kind
opening.
of way to introduce or just approach the show. But it also begins with Lisa Loeb, which
Yep.
I liked a lot.
Yep.
I like Lisa Loeb.
Of course you do.
And we're dealing with not pestilence, not war and famine, but purity.
Purity, which is so weird if you think about it.
It's the opposite of what I thought would
Yeah.
be an evil name, but
I mean, yeah, you wouldn't think
Julia.
of it.
Julia's her name.
Her
Purity.
human name is Julia.
Right, and I thought it was funny. So what happens here is Supergirl shows up with the
The full force of the DEO.
right.
Which is, I thought that was a great scene. Just like barge into this woman's
It was.
house
Yeah.
while she's belting out tunes. It
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Or it's like what Cisco does when he sees something interesting in someone's apartment. He just kind of walks in.
Walks right in without an invite. Although she did break down the door.
Right,
so.
right. Oh, it was all business. But then the girl's singing Lisa Loeb, and then they wake her up, or days are out, and
she's like scared beyond belief.
You'd be freaked out, and then you realize it's Supergirl, and she doesn't know who are these other people. She's like, Supergirl, don't let them hurt me. That's kind of a cool scene, and it kind of goes.
Yeah.
It's on par with what's going on with the World Killers. They don't know who they are except for when they black out.
Well, it's like Rain. She has no idea who she is. And
right.
That whole scene.
Rain should have put it together by now because her blackouts.
I think everyone should have put it together by now. Like
yeah, we'll get to that. The episode kind of ends with maybe Lena putting 2 and 2 together, but never doubt Lena's stupidity. I feel like she's gonna be like.
Yeah, but she's also very clever, and I think she'll put 2 and 2 together. But then again, she still hasn't figured out that Kara is Supergirl. So then I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. She did
yeah.
That's not the hardest thing to do.
But that scene when the DEO and Supergirl barge into Julia's house and she's sitting there literally singing her heart out, not knowing what's going on. She probably has like noise canceling headphones, like Dan does.
Yeah, Dan tried to use some noise cancelers, but they didn't work.
No, they didn't work.
I was kind of annoyed by that.
It was an epic failure on your half.
I don't know. The connection wasn't. We're not getting off topic.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No, but anyway, she's there singing, and then all of a sudden, like, she takes off the headphones, and she's like, at first, I thought she was faking it because I thought she was like, oh, I'm gonna fool Supergirl and be like,
oh yeah,
and not be human.
Well, they showed her save her girlfriend a couple episodes ago. Was it the first introduction?
Right.
She saved her from a car wreck. So I kind of got the impression it was like Rain, where she just didn't
realize what
connect
was fully.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when her eyes turn, her eyes are very weird. Must say, it's like super white. I'm like, oh, contacts, man.
Yeah. Rain goes red, right?
Yeah. She has.
But anyways, so they capture her, they take her in, and that's when Alex goes.
Crazy.
I mean, they beat you over the head with the subtext of this episode, but it's basically Alex has been hurt in love, and her walls are up, and she can no longer trust anyone, because she's thinking of her ex-girlfriend.
I don't blame her.
Well, it's a little extreme. She was
a little
really
extreme.
Jumping down this girl's throat, and of course, Kara's there, like, oh, you look to be someone else. I'm actually going to be here to help you.
Meanwhile, Kara's heart's been broken how many times now, and she's all like chill. And
the
Alex
guy
is
she
like,
loves
Rrr!
is like walking around with his wife right in front of her.
If I was Kara, I'd be like, okay, Alex, let me at it.
Yeah, it was a little bit much, but I like Alex so much. In a lot of ways, Alex is kind of my favorite character on the show.
She's very dynamic.
Yeah, I kind of buy her performance.
Yeah.
So that didn't bother me as much. It was just really heavy-handed, I thought. But
I mean that whole scene where she's like, it's basically Alex versus Kara.
Very much
in that
so.
scene, and then Julia's just not Julia.
Yeah, and they say, I've been here. With Julia, she's like, I've been here for a decade, and this is Purity
talking,
speaking as Purity, but. Is that what's going on? That they're actually from a different place and they've adopted these personalities?
I feel like yes, but I also feel like she's been dormant for so long that when she found a host, that it was like, oh, here I am, but I've been in this world for decades.
That's interesting because that's what I thought was going on too when I saw it, which was that's a really interesting storyline. Fringe did something like that where they had these observers who played roles for 20 years, and then when they were finally activated, they're like, this is my family. Like, I'm not really interested anymore.
Right.
But I think with the World Killers, it's more involuntary. As soon as they get called to action, you got to say the incantation, then they're suddenly, ready to.
Yeah, even though they're like not fully immersed in that host because the host is trying to fight it.
Right.
Which you end up seeing at the very end of the episode. Which is pretty cool.
Which kind of leads us to when Rain gets called out. Rain's taking.
Oh my God, how fun! I started laughing.
It's funny. It's funny because Rain's taking her daughter ice skating, and in the middle of it, she gets activated.
She gets activated and just
pieces
bolts.
out. She just leaves.
I feel so bad for her daughter. Like the daughter just gets left alone everywhere and has to call Lena every time.
I know. And I don't know what's going on with Lena, but she showed up in this fur. Outfit,
like beautiful outfits. I'm like, where's
fur is evil. Like not in general, but I mean like in the comic book TV universe, if you show up wearing a giant black fur thing,
you're
like
evil.
You're a bad guy.
Yeah, but
So
we're
maybe
talking Lena
Lena
Luthor though. It's like she can wear whatever she wants.
I don't know. It kind of seemed like a weird. I don't know. It looked evil to me, but that's just a clothing option.
But you notice how she's always like super dressed up in every scene that she's in, even though she's like,
Yeah.
I own Catco, or she's trying to get back into her Luthor headquarters or
Right.
whatever. But
Always going
she's
to
always
a
has like
cocktail
a
party
really
type
nice
thing.
outfit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, girl.
Yeah, no, she always looks good. That's,
Yeah.
no problems there.
But yeah, so that whole scene was just, I couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, she's 1 minute skating with her daughter, and then the next minute she's like, bam, disappears. Wait till you get to this one, Dan, because it's just like,
I
it's
just
crazy.
There's a lot of moments of, I mean, you can tell by the way we're describing it. It's like you're walking around, you're having lunch, and someone's like, Arabadura, and you just end up leaving
that?
the room.
What was that?
Any kind of incantation, any kind of spell or call to arms, you just suddenly leave the room without saying a word. And in a lot of situations, it just doesn't work because
No.
you could be driving. You could be
Well, that-
taking a shower.
Wait, she
Like,
did
there's a lot
bring
of
up that part.
situations. Yeah, she
Remember?
said that. I could have been driving
She
at
said
the
I could
end.
have
Yeah.
been driving and something
Which is a
could have
really good
happened.
point. Yeah. So
Oh, so it's something where a person like
really, you
can-
just become a zombie and just fly away
Oh.
and leave.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
guess she has the forethought not to just fly away. She goes to the
Right.
locker room, takes off her ice skates,
If
whatever.
that's, or she does like the Supergirl thing and changes in like a flash.
Right, but she'd lose her deposit
Well,
on the ice
Get
skates.
that pun?
I got that
Oh.
one.
Yeah.
No, but it was a funny scene because her and her daughter, basically, she ditches school and then she ditches work. Even though
Yeah,
it's
she
not really
ditches
ditching.
all the. No, yeah, but it is.
She got the
You're right.
approval from Lena Luthor to just skip work.
Right, that's true.
But at the same time, they go to this rink. They're racing around. They're actually having an actual race to see who gets to the end
Mm-hmm.
of the ice skate rink. And then all of a sudden, she freaking disappears. And I was
Ditches her daughter.
I just started laughing. And then I looked at the daughter and I was like, oh.
Oh, so
This
it's part of
sucks.
like this person's like not
Well,
to get-
because like
but,
Rain gets activated once
activated.
something in the DEO happens with Purity,
Right.
which we'll get into.
Right.
Oh,
So
okay.
they both get activated at the same time, and that's when she kind of disappears
She
from
just
the rink.
disappears.
It's like the
It's so
Manchurian
weird.
Candidate. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get the right trigger, and all of a sudden you turn into a zombie, and you're just brainwashed to do
Yeah,
something.
and you don't
Really?
remember anything, obviously, that happened. But leading up to that was when Purity was trying to escape. I forgot Wynn was looking at that
The crystal.
crystal, and then
Like
all of a
a-
sudden it like activated on its own.
Yeah, it
It's
shut
weird.
down. It shut down the base. I mean, that was just to get Purity out of there. I don't know how. I don't know exactly what was going on with the crystal, but it has some kind of power because she went to go grab it. That's going to be some way to activate some killer machine or something. I think once
Yeah,
all the
something.
crystals are combined, like Captain Planet, they'll form into some evil system. But we
Yeah.
also had something I know you like, the Mon-El.
Oh wait, can we get to that later?
You want to get that later?
Yeah.
Just focus on Rain. Okay.
Let's finish with Rain. No, because I have so many things about that.
Okay, I do.
Yeah.
All right, if you got a lot to say.
Well, I do because I loved it and I hated it at the same time.
Oh,
So-
we're gonna say the same thing then. Okay,
Okay.
but we'll
Well,
finish up
let's
with
finish-
Rain and Purity then.
So I do have to mention one thing, that every time they have like a metahuman in that cell or something like that, do you notice that the DO always gets trashed? But then the next episode, it's all back to normal.
Right, they can't contain anybody in there.
Yeah.
yeah. No,
So-
I
so-
noticed that, but it
just
happens.
funny.
It happens so often in all these shows that if
I know.
someone needs to get away, they just find a way. And
But like literally shattered glass, she like goes through
Uh-huh.
the roof and like the side window, and it's
Yeah.
like everything is destroyed. But of course, like the next episode, the glass will be back and everything will be handy dandy.
That's true. Well, we haven't talked about her superpower is canary,
Yeah, which
She's
is
a canary.
So, I know.
which
I'm
is
like,
she'd
really?
be the third canary, not counting dead canaries and alternate universe canaries. There's a lot of canaries.
There's a lot of canaries.
And Sarah.
And
So would she be like the white siren?
yeah, that's it. I mean,
Pretty much.
I don't know what Purity. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out the name Purity, what that what it alludes to. It's a weird name for it, especially when the other ones are like Rain and Pestilence. Purity kind of seems like
Purity is
a
supposed to be
Zale
like
sale
yeah,
or something.
the
But,
calmer version of all three of them.
right. If you're going to deal with anybody, it'd be like, oh, Purity, I'll take her. But yeah, she'll scream at you, she'll knock
Yeah,
you over.
that was pretty
and
cool.
then we'll know what you're talking
And
about.
she's very
10
scary
minutes
looking.
later.
Her eyes are just scary.
Yeah, and actually,
Very,
I thought
very scary.
if we just want to stick with what's going on with her, they basically corner her in the subway when
yeah,
she's
it's
on
the
the
very
train.
end. Yep.
Looked like that was going to be an easy situation.
But
Turns
then
out not.
it was good though, because it's like Kara, or I should say Supergirl, finally gets her Julia to come out.
Right, and I thought I was going to give credit to the actress for that because that was
Oh,
really
yeah.
well done. Usually
Very
I
well
wouldn't
done.
care about that as much, but I was buying it. and she did the evil plus she did the purity plus the Julia
Plus
side
Julia.
really well.
Yep.
But it's so funny when they have these fights with Martian Manhunter, who you can just do anything he wants.
I
He can
know.
phase in and out. This time there's a pillar. We got to get him out of
Oh
the
my
fight
God.
somehow. So this pillar gets destroyed, and Martian Manhunter has to go hold the pillar for like 2 minutes, and he's like, "I can handle this. Get out of
he's
here."
like, I got it. Meanwhile, Mon-El
Oh.
like has his own agenda, but like wants
Oh,
to
yeah.
save Kara because of something that previously happened before, that which we'll talk about.
Right.
But did you notice that like once the fight was over and Julia left with Rain, that the pillar magically like was
I
on
did,
its own,
I
and I'm
did.
just like, what?
I
That
know.
doesn't
It's
make
it's
any
like as soon as
sense.
she left, Martian Manhunter was like, "Fuck this." Like, he just
but,
like crushed
nothing
it back
fell down?
together. Well, yeah, he fixed it in a second, and
It's so dumb.
yeah, it was. But I mean, Martian Manhunter is such a cool character to have around. But if you
Right.
really have him at the height of his powers, then he can just do anything. He could really beat anybody
That's
in any
true.
situation.
And
so.
I always wonder like if people like besides us see those little details.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do because a lot of times people that are watching these shows know the characters well enough.
Yeah.
And if they're like us and they get excited by seeing Martian Manhunter,
Yeah.
they know that you have to kind of limit the powers like they do with Flash, like his real power is ridiculous. Like you can't
Oh,
stop
yeah,
this
you
guy.
can't.
Well, that's
stop
what I
it.
said in the first episode. I was like, Martian Manhunter is like pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, by far. Well, didn't you say like he was as equivalent as
I think he's equivalent as Superman.
Yeah,
Superman.
you said
honestly.
I
as
mean,
Superman? Yeah.
he could they could take each other down at least,
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that
I
would
think
be
so. Yeah.
that would be a fair fight. Put it that way.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I mean, wasn't it? And it was mentioned that Clark or Superman and him had like a feud. Remember in
Yeah.
like season 1?
Yes,
Oh,
I know that.
geez, it's been a
'cause
while. I
I
don't
definitely
remember.
watched
Yeah.
that probably a few days ago.
Season,
Yeah, you
or
should
it's
know,
like
Dan.
towards the end of season 1
Yeah, well,
where
he
Clark
got-
comes back and he's like, "You still have kryptonite
Yeah.
here."
Well,
Like,
the first 2 episodes of season 2 when
Yeah.
Superman 2.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
that?
Because what happened was back in the day, Superman and John Jones were, they found like this huge, apparently like thing of kryptonite, and
Yeah.
Superman was like, "Oh, it's hurting me," and then John was like, "I'm gonna keep it."
Right.
And then
just
they
in
got-
case he goes like,
Right, I'm gonna go
yeah.
put this away.
Which then at one point, this got me mad, is that John's like, "Okay, you can take all the kryptonite, Clark, and put it away," which I kind of thought was annoying because Non was like evil in the first season, so you could have used kryptonite then, but then like you're just giving it away now, like
Yeah,
that was kind of annoying.
I don't know.
You're not trying to put logic into this, are you?
Because the next episode, actually, I remember this because it was like back to back.
Now
The
that
next,
Dan's caught up.
the next episode,
Dan is activated here.
something happens where they needed kryptonite, and John's like, "Oh, I wish I didn't just get rid of all the kryptonite." And I was like,
know.
"Oh my god!"
Somebody
Like,
call Batman too. He's got some in his belt.
That's right.
Yeah.
God, how stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway,
go ahead.
all right. So let's dive into Mon-El
Oh, let's.
and John's conversation.
Martian moonshine. That's how it began. As soon it was so out of character when he's like, "Hey, Mon-El, you want to have some Martian moonshine with me over here
Well,
on the
can we-
steps?" I was like,
Can
"What?"
we first talk about the whole like spaceship device that Mon-El needed to
He
do?
keeps it. Martian Manhunter keeps it in his Bel Air, which is also
Which
his.
is awesome.
Which is also his spaceship.
Yeah.
But
and,
he needs
and
a
Wynn's
jump start.
reaction was like, "You have a spaceship? What?" Like,
Right.
that was great.
And they go down to the ship,
Yep.
and
Or they go up to the ship.
yes, yeah,
For Mon-El's.
They
that's
go
what
to
I'm
the
talking
ship.
about. Yeah, wherever the ship is.
right.
You never actually know where it is.
They go to the ship to talk about the ship
Right.
and the ship he wishes he was in with Kara, and but they go there and have the Martian moonshine because John sort of notices like, "Hey, I was married, for a century. I
Yeah, they have
know
like a little
tete-a-tete
powwow,
when
which
I
is,
see it."
which
Yeah.
is cute, I think. But that whole conversation, I was just like, yes, like it's happening.
I
Come
know.
on.
Well,
I'm
he's
huge.
like, "Oh, this is a political marriage
which
to my
is
wife,"
true.
and I was like, "That's a political marriage?" Like,
Well, if you think about it, they're part of the Legion, so it's
oh
like
no, I get
they
it.
kind of had to be. But then when he just started to describe it and how he like actually fell for her, but then is not like.
Right.
I actually thought he was gonna say like, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you."
Yeah.
when
what-
they were talking.
how he described it to John was like, "Yeah, we got married, and I started to fall in love with her, and I was content," which is just
Which is like so sad because it's like you're
right. But there's no passion in
Right,
that. You know,
there's
it's
no-
like
there's no
a
actual love, yeah.
mechanical system. Yeah.
yeah. Which but that whole conversation, I was just like, oh, thank God, because I was just like, I can't
Thank
stand
God. You didn't
them.
see this coming. Do you?
Oh, of course I did.
Do you think Kara and Mon-El will get back together?
Absolutely.
I happen to agree.
There is a lot of shippers out there.
Oh yeah, I think this whole, like I said,
want Kara and Mon-El to be together, and who doesn't? They're like so adorable together.
Well, I'm seeing
and by the
they're
way,
together in real life.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Oh,
They're
I'm sorry.
actually together
Yeah.
in real life.
Wait, really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she used to be married in
She
the
used
first
to be married
season,
for-
and then
with a Glee cast member.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
him. though. Yeah.
yeah.
She was married for like 2 years.
But yeah, now they're dating in real life. But I think not because of that, but I think everyone loved their characters together in season 2.
That they'll come back.
Which you're
I'm
all
seeing.
caught up.
I'm seeing the beginning of their relationship right now.
But it's real.
Oh, what a time!
It's so
What-
real. What a time. Oh, I love
And
it.
I will have to say, the beginning of their relationship, I'll say right now, more chemistry than Barry and Iris.
Oh, here we go. Well,
That's ridiculous.
Oh.
I don't understand like
Chris-
where.
Your hate for Iris. Like Iris has nothing to do with any of this, and we're talking about Iris.
that's because he knows how much you'll hate it.
I'm fine.
I just don't like that she's the leader.
I'm completely
I-
fine.
Iris is a good character. I just don't like that she's like the leader of Team Flash. That's the only thing.
Well, anyway, back to
Well,
Mon-El.
we are Team Flash,
Back
yeah.
to Mon-El. Let's,
We
let's
are.
get
Stick
back.
with mine. So, what else did you like about? You just we were happy to see it all come together, and this is obviously the setup where
and
she's great. She may look like a supermodel, but this is just a
she
political.
really does. I don't like that.
You know,
There's always like there's no ugly person on any of these.
No,
shows.
that's very true. And she is very pretty, but I'll give it to her. She's actually a good actress. Like
Yeah, she
they,
is.
they
Yeah,
do
she's
a
not
good
bad.
job casting these people where I'm not like this person's just here because they look so attractive, you know.
Right.
So
But
and
I love that scene because I feel like Mon-El needed not like a father figure, but like someone who knows what he's going through to talk to. And that's why I think he was like, I was married once. I had kids. Like, I know exactly what you're going through.
he gave him really good advice too, which
He
is
did.
just be honest. Just be
Yeah.
honest
Which he took.
with your wife. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and she said, you know, I really appreciate that at the end when he's like, you know, do you still love her? And you know, he wasn't really sure.
Which I think is a load of crap because I think he knows that he's still in love with her. Like, why would
Right.
you go? And then that whole bomb that she drops at the very end, I was like, really?
Yeah, well, that's where
That's where it
basically
cuts
Supergirl
off.
leads to the end where, what's her name? We keep calling her his wife.
Ella or El?
Elna. I
El-
wrote it
something
down.
like that.
I always get confused, but basically she's like, oh well, me, Brainiac, and I, who Brainiac has just been gone the past couple
know, I
episodes.
miss
I
him.
like Brainiac. Brainiac's
too.
like from the Superman universe.
Yeah.
Brainiac's one of my absolute favorite. You know,
You'll meet him,
entities.
Dan.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
great.
I know Brainiac from the comics, and now you're saying he's in the show.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy.
he's in a couple episodes.
I mean, don't get too excited. Yeah, you blink and you'll miss him. But he's
Yeah, I got
there.
excited about Kat, and now she's gone, so that stinks.
Yeah, she might come back. You never know.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
But
But
yeah, she drops a
sometimes you
bomb. She drops a bomb at the very end of the episode where she's like, "Let me tell you the real reason why we're here."
Right.
And I was just like, "Really?"
She's like, I saw that you really missed Kara, so I planned all this as your like first anniversary wedding present.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, honey. But we also had Lena at the end when Rain. So Rain's been missing. You know, she shows up back at the office, and Lena's talking to her, and she's like, "Silence! You know, get on your knees."
But
or
then
whatever.
her eyes turn red, and Lena sees that.
Right, and I swear when I saw this, this is where the episode ends on this cutoff. Lena's
Yep.
like, "I think I know what's wrong with you," and I'm like, Lena's about to say, "I think you're Supergirl," because she's that dumb that she would put that together.
No, I think she'd actually put two and two together.
You think so?
Her eyes
Because if
turned
she
red.
can't figure out Supergirl, she's gonna put together Rain. It just surprised me.
I don't know, but like,
I mean, I'm mostly joking. I think she was gonna say
no,
you're
yeah,
Rain,
I mean, but like, you never know
I
what
was
the
waiting
writers
for
are
that
gonna
joke.
do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think she is that smart enough to figure two and two together, like missing time, and then all of a sudden she has
Right.
like a outburst of like silence,
Right,
And then
and
all
what
of a
else
sudden
could it
it's
be?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, Supergirl wouldn't have red eyes to begin with, so I think she's used to Supergirl.
She's got some burning eyes.
She does, but at the
Burn
same
you
time,
up.
they're not like flashes of red. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
she like
Yeah, no,
flashed
that's true.
red,
No, of course, yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like the
I
episode
think she'll
ends.
figure it out. Yeah.
She'll figure it out, but like
Yeah.
I'm also like, really, you can't figure out Supergirl, but
Mm-hmm.
Cat Grant did.
Yeah. No,
which
Cat
is,
Grant
which is
figured it out in
awesome.
no time.
Did you get to that part, Dan? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Kat?
No, you haven't.
Oh, the other part.
That's
Well,
the
she
very end of
figured
the episode of season 2.
Season.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you haven't
Well, she
gotten there.
figured it out in
Look forward to
season
that,
1,
yeah.
and then they tricked her with
No,
John
but, like,
coming in.
There's
Yeah.
there's one scene in episode at the very end of episode 2. I mean,
Yeah.
season 2 that
Yeah.
she's like, "Go get it, Supergirl."
Which is fine. I thought she should have, when they found out, and then they brought Martian Manhunter in and, like, you know, did the 2 Karas. I was like,
Oh yeah.
come on.
There's a pretty funny episode, like 5 minutes in this season, where he has to pretend that he's
Pretend to be
Kara,
her.
and he's like talking about boys and stuff. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Oh,
yeah.
he pretends to be Carl one time in season 2, and he can't walk in the heels, which I thought was
Right.
so. It was like, oh
Yeah,
my
but
god.
there's one in this
There's
season
one in particular that's
where
really good,
like
yeah.
she supposedly has the flu at home because she's in a coma.
Yeah.
And he goes in as her, and they have like the boy conversation with Lena, and I was just
Yeah,
like
it was
dying.
pretty fun.
God.
It was
it
pretty
was good
fun,
acting.
yeah.
It was pretty good.
So that's Supergirl in
So
a
yeah, that
nutshell.
sums up
I think,
Supergirl.
2
like you said,
months.
yeah, Supergirl's gone for 2 months, but I think we can see where it's
Yeah.
going. Which we
Which is
talked about
good.
it before. They're realizing. I think they're going to figure out who these people
Oh,
are.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Kara says it in this episode. They're not really trying to defeat the world killers. They're really trying to save them because they're actual people underneath
Yeah,
the
I
veneer.
thought that was a good twist.
It is, yeah. And
You're saving the human side of them and not
right,
destroying them.
right. And we'll see if any of them keep their superpowers.
Which is so human of Kara, which I love.
Yeah, that's kind of the optimism of Supergirl,
Yeah.
Superman, that whole
Hold on to
system.
hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Hope. All right, so there we are with Supergirl, and now moving on
To something Dan can talk about.
Yeah.
to the Flash, which, by the way, Chris and I are wearing Flash T-shirts today
Yes.
because I personally am dedicating this week to the Flash.
I'm with Arrow. I have the Arrow shirt on. We'll
well,
get to Arrow.
Well,
I
too
thought-
bad, Dan. You're
You're
outnumbered.
You're dedicating it to the Flash because it was so good.
Well, she thinks
This-
this episode was the
This
best. yeah.
episode of Flash was great, but also because he also has a tiny appearance in Arrow, which is
Oh
great.
my god.
Which
I
is
We'll
saw
great.
get-
it.
we'll get to that.
So,
We'll get to
yeah,
that.
We'll get to that. But that's why I'm dedicating it to the Flash.
Yes, Flash.
So yes.
So,
So let's start out. Dan, since you haven't been chiming in that much, why don't you start off Flash for us?
So yeah, it starts out, the warden is trying to sell them to Amunet, and then Amunet's like, I'm going to buy all of them. And it's like, oh, didn't see that coming. And then,
That was the end of the last episode. Of course
Right.
you saw that coming.
and,
I'm gonna buy them.
so
all.
then,
Yeah.
This-
Her accent, by the way. I love Katie Sackhoff, but that accent.
yeah.
Getting a
I
little
think
brutal.
she acts like as a mad woman, like perfectly. Like she's crazy.
No, it's
and she-
entertaining. It's just you can't
I feel
stress
like
the
You don't like
details.
that accent?
Yeah,
The accent's kind of a disaster for me, but like I said, it's fun. So as long as I'm
Right.
having fun, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, then Barry's like, "Oh, we're gonna break out," and this is where I kind of Flash for me got a little fishy again, because he's breaking out. Okay, whatever, but he's breaking the people that he put in there. It's like,
but
okay,
but it's showing you the teamwork, even though
Well,
they
yeah.
are villains. It's like
Right,
it's a
and
team effort to get
He's
everybody
saving
out.
them from slavery too.
Right,
They're not
right.
they're not
Right.
breaking
No.
out to go create havoc.
which
They're
is
gonna
fine.
become,
And then I became fine with it because even at the end, the warden says this. He's like, "Yeah, he's breaking you out, but then he's just gonna capture you and put in." He probably would have put him
I
in.
know that reveal was just like.
And
whoop.
he probably would have put him in the meta prison that they have at Star Labs too. And I was like, okay, that's true. He probably would have just caught them.
But
again.
while they're in the metahuman prison, there, the whole thing with the whole like chemistry of how Barry makes that concoction to get out. I
Oh,
was like, he is
oh,
so freaking
Chris.
smart.
very
thought
so
about
good.
you there. You were definitely like, this
I
is
was
just
like,
ridiculous.
wow, this batteries. He's stealing
didn't-
batteries.
It was funny.
He like
It's-
MacGyvered
I hate to
himself
put
out.
too much. I hate to
Literally.
put too much logic on these shows because then, like I said, then I have to start applying that to everything, and I'm like, none of this works. But it was funny. What actually was the funniest part of me for me was he clogs up the toilet, and they're so like on board. They're so up to date with their maintenance schedule at this place that the plumbers there like within a few hours.
Within a
like,
few hours, yeah.
I was like, wow, that's
Without
nice.
without the actual toilet overflowing, which is
Right,
funny.
he's reaching down like hands in
He's like,
to pull
"Oh,
out
that's a
some
lot of
hair, and I
hair."
was
Yeah,
like,
he said
what
there was
the
hair,
hell?
but I was like, wait.
Didn't he like put a cloth?
He put
down
like a
there or
cloth
something?
down there, so I was like,
Yeah, he was like mixing it with his mashed potatoes or something. That's it. I didn't pay
when
that much
he used
attention.
the
but-
chemicals to break the cell open, I was like, oh my god, Chris. Is
Right.
gonna
Yeah,
love
but-
this.
Well, I would have hacked the toilet and just used that as a way to get out of there.
Just
but
go through the toilet.
yeah, we're making fun of some hacking
Yeah,
liquid.
but
Hacking liquid.
it's the chemistry that he's
Yeah,
using.
I mean,
the chemistry.
batteries
if you wanna make it
and then
plausible-
water and then
Right.
Right.
whatever else.
He's a
that he used.
forensics
Yeah.
expert.
Yeah.
We never touch on that, but that
You
actually
never
is his
touch
job.
on it,
Yes,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
But I thought that was a cool aspect of how he got out because technically he could just phase out, but he didn't want everyone else to know
Yeah.
he was the Flash.
Well, that's what I was curious about. Can he phase out of that
Yes.
room? He
Yeah.
can.
Oh no,
No,
he didn't have
no.
powers.
No, they had,
he
Right,
didn't have
because
powers.
it's all they're all
Meta
dampened
dampening
in there.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
he's dampening
right. Oh, I
powers. Because
forgot
remember,
about
they
that.
Right.
get
Yep.
outside and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
now we
yeah.
have our powers.
So he had to use his forensic
Yeah.
side to it, which I thought was pretty cool, even
Yeah.
though it was cheesy.
It
No,
was cheesy,
pretty
but it was
funny,
still
but
great.
It was fine. But Yeah, so that's the problem I had is that like you're breaking these people out and you're gonna. And I'm glad the warden said it. The warden was like, "Yeah, he's just breaking you out just to capture you guys again." And I was like, "Okay, that's probably true." Because if he was just breaking these, first of all, those guys all did terrible things. Like that guy stole like a nuke or some type of bomb and shrunk it and stuff. And it's like
Yeah, they
you're
all did
breaking
bad
these-
things. That's why they're in prison.
Right. That's what. Well, that's what I'm
Not-
saying. And you're
not like
breaking
Becky.
them out.
I mean, I like Becky.
yeah,
she was just
Unlucky and then got
right.
lucky.
She got lucky and then didn't. By the time she kind of realized how bad she was, she kind of had a redemption here.
Right.
Yeah. But
She's a sweet girl.
Yeah,
And she didn't do it on purpose. Like she just kind of went overboard a little and got
And that
overhand.
actress is nailing it.
Oh,
Some people
yeah.
just kind of come through the
She's-
show,
yeah,
and she's
she's
one
good.
of them. And it's a shame because by the end of the episode, she gets her mind wiped or
Yeah.
taken over, whatever
We'll
it is.
get there, but
But
yeah,
at least that ensures that
she's-
she's going to be around
Right.
as a DeVoe proxy, which
Right.
I'm really hoping. Well, we'll get to some other stuff later. Yeah,
yeah.
I hope that I still like the main actor for DeVoe, and
Yes. Yeah.
beyond Ralph's impersonation.
oh, Ralph. Yeah.
So I don't know when
let's-
he's gonna come back.
So let's talk about
Oh,
that.
can we talk about the opening? Now I don't think it was
Right,
the opening scene, but it was where he like walks into his PI office and there's this
Right.
fat Irish guy like,
Yeah.
drunk on his couch and the
Yep.
the accent. I was just like, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah, it was good. But that was the theme for Ralph that episode.
right.
Right.
You
That whole
always
part.
let people down.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why, and that leads to he learns how to shapeshift,
Which is so cool.
which is
You know, he learns how to shapeshift. He also learns how to pigment shift, which was kind of throwing me for a loop, you know, because like I said, the warden is black, and he's
Yeah.
able to like actually change the color of his skin and everything. That kind of
Yeah.
surprised me because they were just saying this is like an unlimited, basically Mystique at this point, to kind of have
Yeah.
that shape shifting
Yeah.
ability. I
Martian
guess,
Manhunter too.
but he was also changing his clothes, right? Like
Yeah.
when he became the guy,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he basically his Mystique level
yeah,
powers
you
at this
become
point.
you become who he is and what he's wearing.
Okay,
basically.
I'm all for that. I mean, that's cool because then you can
Yeah.
make him be anybody.
Right.
Like that's
Well,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
that's why he became Eddie. I think that was his name, the Irish guy. Eddie.
Oh yeah, he
sounds
just,
right.
Yeah, he just randomly.
Which
a
was
nice
so
Irish name.
so funny because he got like so pissed off and then all of a sudden he was him and I was
Yeah.
just like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is so cool. And
It was well done.
and of course Caitlin's reactions, right, Chris?
Caitlin, always the
She always
best.
has the best reactions. Yep.
She's like, there's a few characters that they just put them in just enough in the show that they're so good, and Caitlin is really one of them.
Yeah.
Where she only gets maybe like 5-10 minutes to stretch it of screen time to really make an impression. But
Yeah.
this is another example of an episode where she really does that, and she gets to come in instead of going to the hallway, which they joked about in this
they
episode.
did.
They
They
said
did.
we're gonna
We're gonna
Cisco,
go step out in the hallway and
we're gonna go
Ralph was
see.
like, no.
They called it Dr. Hallway, and I was like, yeah, that's
Oh.
exactly what it. That's exactly what it is. But I thought it was a great twist. Instead of having Cisco or Wells take him out in the hallway, Killer Frost, you never really get to see
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
kind of connection with anybody.
Yeah,
Takes
Pretty cool.
she goes to talk to Ralph, and it's just like
That was good.
shape up.
Yeah, because she really explained like I've gotten second chances. I've done stuff.
Yeah, she's
that,
killed people. Like
Yeah.
It's like
ridiculous.
Um,
But that was
but we
cool.
like Ralph's shifting powers.
I love it. Like I said, I was
I
just
think it's
excited
good.
that they made it. He could shape into anybody.
I do like
instead
that
of
too.
just
So-
people that kind of look like him.
My thing is that he shapeshifts to DeVoe, and
At
then
the very end, yeah.
and he gets Barry out of court.
I have a huge problem with that.
Okay, I'm glad you did
So
too.
let's hold off. Let's talk about how they actually get out of prison and that whole scene.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They break in, they break into the gigantic sewer underneath the.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Barry knew the whole
Barry
thing
knew
was
the
underneath.
yeah, he knew all that
because it was
stuff,
a prison underneath or something, and then they
Yeah.
went there.
which was cool. And that poor plumber who was down there. I
that
just
terrible
felt so bad.
Oh god.
But
He's
we
like,
the plumbing, but the plumbing services at this prison are just like
Oh, top
Up to par.
5-star.
Top notch.
Up to par.
He was probably down there just making sure that Barry's toilet was just clog free, like running a line through
Oh
it.
my god, that was so funny. But no, they like end up going outside where
Yep.
where all the prison guards, not prison guards, where all the prisoners work out.
Right, right.
Oh, that's right.
The
yes.
open, yeah.
And then they get their powers while they're out there.
And then can we discuss the whole? We go back to DeVoe, and then the wife, and how she's humming a song so he doesn't read her mind.
Oh, pink
Yeah,
elephant,
that's getting-
pink elephant,
Pink elephant,
just
yeah.
like that.
It was just like
That's creepy.
it's creepy, but also like
connection
I
with
feel like she's
Cecile.
like okay.
She knows. Yeah.
She knows like he went way overboard. That whole
Yeah.
that whole scene was like intense.
Right, and just to jump to the end of the episode while we're on her,
Yeah.
it's kind of sad because you see Becky acting as DeVoe.
Yeah.
basically drugging her. It didn't seem like a drug. It seemed like an electronic thing or
Yeah.
something. But basically,
Well, it was
he's kind
from-
of installed his
It
own.
was from
little...
the Weeper. The Weeper is a meta.
Oh,
where
absolutely.
His tears were
Yes.
a love drug that made you fall in love, and that's what
Yeah,
he did.
that's
Which
what
was
he
like,
did.
I was
okay.
like,
I'm glad you
okay.
said that. I didn't put that
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Um,
But like,
But that's sad
it's
yeah,
sad.
it really is. It's in
because their romance was real. It seemed real
Yeah,
on the show.
now-
You know.
And now it's not. Well, I did tell you guys that she will probably turn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, she was disgusted because DeVoe killed the warden. Like,
Oh
so
my
they
god,
come out.
so
warden.
disgusted. That scene was intense.
Yeah, and
was
you
a
could
crazy
tell she
scene.
was immediately taken aback.
Oh
by
yeah,
that.
she was like baffled beyond belief.
You know, it's funny. I really wish. I always complain about this, but I wish that people could just try to. I wish the superheroes would just give up their secret identities and like I'm the Flash. Like I'm Barry Allen. I'm the Flash. I'm tired of dealing with my secret identity because when they came out into the courtyard with all the weights and everything, and the warden was like, "That's the Flash. Barry Allen's the Flash." I was like, "All these people are either going to get their mind wiped or they're dead because nobody."
Oh, because
It's like the iron rule of the show.
Well, right.
And sure enough, they take down
Sure enough, they're all
Amunet, and
dead.
as she's falling down, she kills like 12 people. You know, it's
I
just to
know.
make
Oh
sure.
yeah, it was like boom,
like-
boom, like what?
Yeah, well, they can't. Nobody that can know that
Can
Barry
know.
Allen's the Flash. Yeah.
Right, no one can know.
Right,
That's
so,
a small gripe.
so what happens is DeVoe comes in, he wipes the bus metas, all the ones that were there, the shrink
Yes.
guy. Barry tries to get to Becky.
Yeah, but he has the damper on, so he
I
can't.
know.
He can't.
It's like too
his
late.
speeds-
Oh,
yeah.
and then
Which
And
I felt really bad because Becky was like, she was really nice and
Yeah.
she wanted to help him and she stood up for him when she was like, even though you're the Flash, like I'm still gonna help you.
And it's
Yeah.
such a cool power too, like that kind of Scarlet Witch power to control, luck
Yeah.
and fortune.
Yeah.
Like the way that she foiled them trying to
Right,
attack.
Right.
the
But
Flash
now,
is
but
pretty
now
cool.
DeVoe has all of their powers.
yeah,
Right.
and then he goes back, and that's when Team Flash is like, why didn't he go to the metahuman wing, get all of them? And that's when they figure out they're
just the
targeting the
bus.
bus
Yeah,
metas for a
and
reason. And who was on the bus? Ralph.
It's so scary if you think about it, because then that means he's gonna be. I
I don't
want.
want to, dude.
Like I don't want
Ralph-
him to
Ralph-
die.
Just
Like I'm
no,
getting
Oh,
used
I don't
to
think
him.
he's gonna die. I
No,
think
but like
This is what they
something's
do.
gonna happen.
They make you dislike Ralph in the beginning. Now we all like Ralph, and now they're like, oh, hey, by the way, DeVoe's gonna go after Ralph, and it's like, oh.
Well, you don't know that 100%. That's just what the Flash is thinking. Like the Flash team, I should say. is
Yeah,
thinking.
well,
Well, no,
I
but
think it's a
then
good
he talks
guess.
about DeVoe talks about it with his wife too, and the wife's like, "You were supposed to get all of the bus metas all at once," and he's like,
Yeah,
"No,
and
it's
you only
fine,
got
I'll get
4.
it." Yeah, and they
Yeah.
got 4.
Yeah, but now it's someone we have so much invested in Ralph that when it happens, they've spent so much time building him up that
Right,
it'll
that you'll
mean
get
something.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Chris, let's talk about that whole court scene because you
ugh,
definitely
yes.
there's
You know-
something there was something off about it. I liked
didn't-
it, but I also was like a
Well, you-
little weirded out by it.
You like it because the Flash gets free, so it's like, oh, okay, nice. But you feel like I think this is what you feel a little weird because it's like you want to get out of here legally, right?
Yes.
But what you basically just did was
Illegal.
fraudulent. You know?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what
It's
bothered
like-
me.
Yeah.
In the whole season, Barry's been like, I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to.
The right
if
way,
I get
yeah.
out, it's going to be the legal
The
way.
legal way.
Right.
This is not the legal way. Like,
And it's
you're,
like-
you're fraudulently saying that Ralph, who I guess has to be DeVoe full time, because I mean he can't really because his wife obviously is in the evil layer doing these things. So he's
with Becky and stuff.
I don't know how
Well,
that
that's
works.
another thing. The wife knows. The wife's probably like, "How
Did
the
you
hell?"
see her
is-"
reaction though? She was like,
Yeah, when he was like,
She
"Wait,
was shocked,
holy
but
that
shit.
was yeah."
I mean,
But
if
I
that happened to
mean-
me, I would have been like, what,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a ghost. Like,
Right, but the ruse is up after a few days unless Ralph is just completely pretending to be DeVoe all the time because people would be
I
like,
d-
"Whoa, where have
No,
you been?" We
yeah,
gotta,
I don't
like-
think.
I
he
mean,
We
I
will.
gotta
don't
come
think
into the
so. I think
police, like-
after like the whole thing was released in like public and whatever, I think like a few days after it'll
Uh-huh.
go back to normal. Like he'll be in his house with the wife.
You think
So
so?
I
Yeah.
think so.
It just seemed like I said when I saw it, I was like,
There'll be a
this
bigger
can't-
news.
I mean, I saw it, and I was like, this can't be the way Barry gets out of jail.
I was
Like,
thinking
after
that too.
all this.
I was
like,
thinking that too
Ralph-
because it's like,
But it's also,
pretends
if
to be
you
the
think
guy.
about it, there's no other legal way he would be free.
well, it
He would be in
Well, you
jail
could-
forever.
it
You
would
could
be
have
like-
you could have the case thrown out. It could be some new evidence where they say, this is
Right.
actually an acquittal. Like, 'cause
or
we
it's
can't-
like, or
yeah.
it's like in season 1 when Thawne literally just admitted that he killed Barry's father, but
Right,
you would have to
right.
have DeVoe do that. The thing is like, we all know, yeah, Barry didn't kill him. Everyone knows that. But it's just like now this happens, Ralph DeVoe, because, I'm still alive, blah, blah, blah. But like people still don't know like the truth. That's why it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's the legal way, but it's like not everyone knows the real story now.
Yeah,
And
well,
I don't think
maybe that'll
anyone
come
will
out, but-
besides the
yeah.
Flash team.
That's why it was a little fishy. I'm glad he's out now
was.
because he can do Flash things now.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean,
But-
I knew he wasn't going to be in jail for the whole season.
Oh
because
yeah,
that would be
obviously.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was a little
It
peeved.
just seemed
Yeah.
weird to me.
It was
didn't,
weird.
It didn't
It
seem
was weird.
fitting with where the
Which-
show has been
right.
building for
Right.
The
most
whole
of
time
season.
because he said he's
But
going to
it
do it the
also
legal way. The
it
legal
also
way.
came as a shock because I didn't think Ralph would actually do that. I
Yeah.
mean, I put two and two together, but at the same time, when you physically saw him come out with the wheelchair as DeVoe,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like this.
Now
is
the what? I
happening.
mean, now the wife, DeVoe's wife's gonna go back and be like,
Dude,
how did he do
she's
that?
turning.
Blah, blah,
I'm
blah.
telling you, she's turning.
and when he drugs the wife, like we said at the end, and they're doing that dance, it's like, oh my god, like DeVoe's going crazy. And the Enlightenment, that's what we kept thinking about the name that DeVoe's trying to do. The Enlightenment.
Oh,
is-
okay.
Oh, is
I don't
that-
know. We again still don't know what it is, but that's what he's trying to.
Well, he's going a little overboard, actually killing people.
Yeah, and then
It's
Like not a metahuman, an actual person.
yeah,
Mhm.
and like he's taking.
And
the
I think that's
metahuman's
what drew the line
powers.
for the wife.
yeah, and I think drugging his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
kind
a
of
little-
I mean,
crossed
taking
the line.
he's still taking the life away from all the metahumans though too, which is pretty.
Yeah, but it's-
crazy.
I know it's stupid to say this, but like they're super, like not well they're villains, but
Oh,
like
the
they have a
buses,
certain
the-
power,
Mm.
whereas the warden had nothing,
right.
like zero.
Yeah.
like that's like
Yeah, it's
killing
true.
you.
Yeah.
Not that you know.
Jeez.
Sorry, I'm just saying. I'm putting an
Now that I
analogy
got that
here.
idea in my head, yeah,
No.
it's interesting.
But
Yeah, now he's draining all the power, and now he's gonna apparently try and go after Ralph and drain his power, which
Uh-huh.
would be really.
Wh-
Well, is
Which-
he controlling them or draining their powers?
Well, he's
Because he seems to just
well,
be
no,
using
he's
them as
not
marionettes,
even he's
or as
dr-
puppets.
he's draining the power, but also like
Taking
the
it for
body
himself.
is done.
yeah,
Like when he drained the power of those metas in the little,
they were dead.
they're done. They're dead.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
why I'm like, yeah, he's crazy for that
He
too.
intentionally like stole their power and is now using it, all of
Okay.
them combined.
Okay.
Like
Wow.
he's in Becky Sharp's body, but like Becky's not alive.
Yeah.
No,
you know what I
Becky's-
mean?
Yeah, Becky's.
That's
gone.
why I'm saying
Becky's
he's
coming back.
You think she's coming back?
yeah. I think Becky's coming back.
Oh, I
Becky's
don't know.
awesome.
We're
But
gonna
that's what I'm
we're gonna
saying.
Save
When
them.
when he drains the life force, he's killing them.
But,
That's
like-
why I'm saying he still killed like all those bus metas, which is
But you think
awful.
out of all people to take, he takes Becky. Like why? You know,
Well,
you have to
she's got
think
a
about that.
Pretty awesome power.
well. They all. I'm telling you,
They all do though. If you think about
I mean,
it.
honestly, of all of them, Becky's probably the one I'd want the most because
Yeah.
that's a pretty
he's
unstoppable
he's
power.
going after all of the people on the
yeah.
bus.
Well, it's
And
all going to come together to,
yeah.
to
Yeah.
be
Which I
something
don't know.
Crazy.
There's supposed to be 12 metas, right? I don't think there's been. They've found out.
Six.
They've
there's-
only found.
something.
They've only found
five,
five or six,
five or
something like
six.
They
that.
show the board like a tic tac toe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Board. Yeah.
Cecile, I still am convinced that there's something DeVoe's doing. There.
Yes. The
But
more
God,
that you
thank
address
God
that.
for her because if she didn't,
Yeah,
if she
the
wasn't there
warden.
in the opening scene, she
Uh-huh.
would, no one
Yeah,
would
that
have
was
known.
funny. He's like, "Oh yeah, Barry's gonna be fine as soon as Amunet comes to pick
Right?
me up.
Oh my God, it was so good.
I'm gonna
I was
get
like-
a ton of money for this speedster."
I was
She's
like, that's
"Whoa."
my girl.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Go Cecile.
I also
Yeah.
thought it was funny when DeVoe's wife was like, "Oh, like, do you know what's going on?" He's like, "I have no idea," and she's like, "Really?" And he's like, "I'm thinking of a billion things a second." And, like he gives her this thing. And
Yeah.
the look in
Yeah.
her face was like a simple no.
Right?
Would have done fine. Like I'm not an idiot.
Yeah,
but like I said,
she's-
he's just becoming more and more of a
Yeah.
Self-absorbed.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what he's coming. Yeah.
Which
I don't.
actually, the Cecile thing begs the question: like, did DeVoe want Barry to break out at some point? Because Cecile ends up finding out.
No,
that
because
they're
you
doing
remember
that
He
He
said he
before
didn't
and-
anticipate it.
Yeah, he's like, this wasn't
That's
part
true.
of the plan.
Dan,
So.
I'm
Dan,
telling you,
pay
DeVoe is
if you
attention.
still.
watch the episode, it tells you.
I'm still telling you, there's a reason Cecile has those powers, and it's not because she's pregnant.
You said that last
You
week, and
said
I
that,
100% agree.
We agree.
The more
We
it goes
agree.
on, the more I agree.
Speaking of, so Dan, what's your trivia question for the Flash?
Oh, it was just a question like, which characters have been in every single episode of The Flash? There's like, I think 6 of them.
Like what character?
Well,
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
well, I guess you could say
like the
actor.
main, like
actress,
Cisco.
actor. So Cisco
Yeah, I'd say-
one.
Cisco, Caitlin,
Barry, Caitlin, Cisco,
Iris,
Iris,
and Joe.
and yeah.
I think there's one more.
You don't even know?
I think there's one more. I think
What do
there's
you mean
Did
you
you say
think?
Caitlin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, no, you are missing one. Tom Cavanaugh.
Oh,
HR.
Every episode? He wasn't in
Yeah.
this episode.
No, he wasn't in this episode.
He wasn't in this episode.
Holla.
Oh
Got
my
your own
God.
trivia
I'm
question
so
wrong.
dumb.
What a trivia
I'm
question.
so dumb.
I know.
Uh,
I missed him in this one.
I know. I
He
mean,
he was taking care of his daughter in Earth
right.
2
He was
or
over
whatever.
taking care of
Oh, yeah,
Quick.
that was just like,
Random.
I mean, that's in a way, the fact that they even address it is okay. I don't know what Tom Cavanaugh's doing.
But it's also
I hope
like,
he had a
remember
nice week.
last episode, he was like, we need to find all this
Yeah,
this
he
stuff
was-
to get Barry
he
out. And
was-
then he's
yeah.
like, bye.
He was stepping up, which I was happy about, and then he just leaves.
He's
But
a
also,
big
it's
belly
weird.
burger.
It's
Yummy.
weird because at the beginning of the season, they say like him and his daughter like don't talk anymore, and now he's going to take. It's like what?
Yeah.
So that was a little confusing. Anyway,
Anyway, so
yep,
that's a wrap up on
comes
Flash.
in
Uh-huh.
2 more weeks, I think.
February 26th.
Yeah, that week.
Yeah, so
And,
2 more weeks for the Flash. But
yeah, no
now
time.
let's move on to Black Lightning.
Black Lightning.
You know, I'm starting. I know we haven't been loving it. I'm starting to like Black Lightning a little bit more. It's actually starting to
Really?
grow on me a little bit.
This episode
But-
was better.
No.
I was practicing my breathing the whole time, and it really took it to the next level.
So did you see
Breathe.
with when it starts out previously on Black Lightning, and there was literally just a clip of her saying, "It's my breathing," and I literally laughed.
Yeah.
Out loud. I was like, "Oh my god!"
But that must be a big part of how she controls her power or whatever, because they
'Cause they keep
said
talking
It, yeah,
about-
because they only saved the really important stuff for the recap, and when she
That's
said,
true.
"Yeah, it's my
Just
breathing," I was
breathing.
like, "Oh, that was something I was gonna make fun of. I didn't know that was a
I
real
don't know.
plot
This
point."
episode is just, I just can't get into it. I have a feeling this will, it'll be canceled.
You think it's gonna
Yeah,
be canceled?
I don't know. I meant to look
Really?
at the.
I think so. I don't think the
for
ratings
it.
are
I saw the
very-
ratings for last episode actually.
What were they?
So it was a Tuesday, right? It was
Uh-huh.
Tuesday.
1.8
Oh, that's bad.
1.8 million.
Yeah.
But to be
I don't
fair,
know how
Arrow
much it
this year
recoups
has
later
been
on.
around there too.
Yeah, but-
Arrow's been down.
Yeah, but
Arrow's
they have
having
a,
its-
they have a following. Arrow
Yeah.
is
That's
in
true.
current
But-
6
but-
seasons,
That's true.
Rating wise, Arrow's having its worst season
It
ever.
is.
Yes.
It's going down each
Yeah.
episode, which yeah.
which sucks. But like this, this just episode was just, I couldn't get into it.
So it starts out kind of like Jefferson finds this kid in the bathroom screaming.
Right. And he's like,
He's
let me
on
ask you
some, like-
something. When you take a shower. No, he doesn't have that awkward conversation again. But the
When-
kid's in there
yeah.
freaking out. Yeah.
Where do you the
Freaking
athlete's
out,
foot?
yeah, but you find out that he's on like PCP or like some
I
drug
wrote it
that's
down.
out.
It's called
PCP. Oh, yeah.
it's
Go ahead.
green light drug.
Green
and then
light.
say what it is. It's PCP mixed
PCP
with,
and
like,
meth. As if PCP and meth had a baby.
Yeah,
That's what they say in the show.
I know, it's so stupid.
And I was like, oh, it's so
And,
sinister. And then it also gives you superpowers because he's taking out the. He's ripping,
took
he's
out the
ripping porcelain
urinal,
out of
like,
the
Yeah.
wall.
and then he threw it at. And then another thing is that Jefferson shows his Black Lightning powers. He uses it twice, like 2 lightning bolts, and then
and the
Kid
kid
forgets.
still couldn't
they
get
have him in
knocked
the
out.
principal's office. And he doesn't even say anything like, "Oh, by
Right.
the way, the principal is
But
Black
that's like
Lightning."
like
what?
something like Rain, where
Yeah.
you don't remember what happens because you're so
Yeah, I
high
guess that's
overdose.
Well,
probably-
I don't think
You're
you guys have
he
taken.
overdosed.
I'll say it's as someone who's taken green light before. You forget a lot of what happened in the
Yeah,
past
tell
like
us, Chris.
hour. Yeah.
How does
Yeah,
it
green
feel to
light.
take drugs?
I love
just-
how it's just this
There's like
random.
a Chris-shaped hole in the wall that you forget what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but he, like you said, he goes to the principal's office where Jefferson gives him like, "Oh, we're not going to suspend you. We're not going to
Yeah.
expel you."
Yeah. And I'm really liking that stuff. The
I
Jefferson
like the
Pierce.
principal thing. I like
Yeah,
the principal thing.
and I kind of like how the vice principal, who obviously feels a little bit spurned because
Right.
she obviously has a crush on him.
Huge.
He's rebuffed her a couple times.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
she's willing to just screw this kid's life up a little bit to kind of make
Yeah.
a point. And she's taken away, a lot of the episode deals with the school angle
Which-
and how he's going to lose
What-
power.
Yeah, which I
when,
like.
when they brought up like expulsion, I was kind of just like, really? Like he was. I mean, like
I think
he
that's-
shouldn't have.
I think that's fair.
That's
Yeah, but
realistic,
he,
I
he
think.
shouldn't have
Realistic,
taken
yeah.
the drug, but it's like,
Yeah,
But
but
a
then
lot of
again,
it's a no
was it-
tolerance.
was it
not that
really
I necessarily
him though?
report that.
Like, all right, put it this way. I guess if the principal wasn't Black Lightning, he probably would have been expelled. If that makes sense.
I
Right.
don't- Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I
but-
think he's just trying to do the right thing regardless.
Right.
I
Yeah.
really like the mantra. I wish I wrote it down, but like it's like who are you? And like, it's kind
Oh,
of like this like
the phrase.
affirming. I like that. It's kind of, I want to make fun of it because it's idealistic, but it's also so positive for something that actually seems somewhat
motto.
real, like kids
Yeah.
on drugs in school. I mean, this is like very real stuff that it's kind of like, I kind of I support what
Yeah.
Jefferson Principal Pierce is
Principal
doing.
Pierce,
yeah.
And then you have the daughter who has the powers now bump into the people who are giving away the drugs, and she like
Yeah.
Right.
kicks
It's her
their
students
ass.
that she runs
Yeah,
into.
She
yeah.
used her breathing too much because like
Uh-huh.
she knocked him out pretty hard, and then she called the police. And,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And then
she doesn't know how to
Alfred-
control it.
Alfred saw it on the screen He saw.
Oh, he's putting two
Alfred
and two together.
knows.
He
Alfred
is-
definitely knows.
We call him Alfred. His name is Peter Gamby.
Peter Gamby, yeah.
We'll just call him Alfred, because that's
I think
it's
Peter
basically
Gamby-
a Batman relationship right here.
We rearranged the letters, and it does spell Alfred. But he is getting a little shady with Black Lightning. He's not telling
He's not
him
telling him the
everything.
truth.
Yeah.
Well,
He
I
doesn't
think-
know about Tobias either. Like, he hasn't told him about
True,
Tobias, and he hasn't told him about his
true.
daughter.
Wait, what hasn't he told him about Tobias?
So Alfred saw that Tobias is basically back and knows that Black Lightning is back in business, but he hasn't told Black Lightning that he knows that.
he knows.
And now he's
Okay,
hiding
yeah,
that from
yeah,
his
yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
Plus,
Right.
he has all this tech. It's getting a little bit suspicious. Like, how is this guy funded, or what is his
Yeah.
job? What?
Again,
I feel like there's some kind of
He's
backstory.
the Kingsman Taylor.
I think that's
we don't know the
also very
origin
di-
still. We
yeah,
still
we
don't know.
still don't know origins.
Like-
we touched on it. Well, we touched
little.
on the backstory, I should say. Yeah,
A little
in a
backstory.
river. He fell in a river, which doesn't mix with lightning, I guess. And
When did this happen?
in the episode,
Who falls in a river?
no. So Tobias is basically goes to a doctor. He's like, I thought you said that Black Lightning was dead, and the doctor's
Right, the
like,
doc- the
I pulled a
doctor
body
starts
out of the
explaining
water.
it.
Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
body,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
don't blame me.
Okay, yeah.
Right,
And you kind of
right.
that was the
Sorry about
first
now.
hint that we got of it. But you're gonna get
Yeah.
your backstory.
Yeah,
Your
I
You'll
hope.
origin
get
story.
your-
No,
you'll-
you will.
You'll
Yeah.
get the
I
origin.
mean, because the backstory of Black Lightning, but now you know that Peter Alfred guy. Like, how does he get all that? Like,
Well, that's
It's
another
just-
thing they're gonna have to explain to
it's
us
just
because
the
we don't know.
story. It's just like, here it is. Like, we
Well,
don't
yeah.
know.
They're like, here, figure it out yourself.
You know, and it.
But
I
Eve comes back.
Eve comes back. What was she doing?
Okay,
Eve
I thought
was
you guys were gonna
sticking-
know. What
she was sticking
was
a
that?
weather vane inside of a guy's.
Oh,
and
that
he was
was-
alive. I mean,
Yeah,
he was like
he
a
was
zombie
alive.
thing or something.
Yeah, like a
He was alive
resurrection
because
kind of
yeah,
thing.
they wake up.
That was a little.
It was
Shit.
weird.
I thought it
don't-
was a girl. Actually, was it?
It
No,
might,
it was a
no,
he.
it was,
No,
a
it
guy.
was a guy.
But like
Yeah,
she
and they
was
wake
like
up and-
probing him and like
Yeah, while
Right.
talking, I was like,
while
this
talking.
girl is.
But then again,
awake.
if you think about it, every villain has like some sort of thing that they're like.
Yes.
Oh no, it makes
Yes.
her seem very villainous, which is
she's,
good.
She's
Like,
a good villain. I like.
better
She's
than
good.
Yeah,
better
she's
than
good.
Tobias.
Yeah.
But I started laughing when she was like, even albino, like, and then I thought of you, Chris, because she was talking to Tobias, who is actually albino.
Right. I almost
and
felt
then-
like they said that to tell viewers at
Tell
home.
viewers at home,
Like,
yeah.
hey, for you idiots who don't realize it, this guy is albino.
Right.
Because I feel like not everybody gets that.
No,
Yeah.
I mean we did obviously,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
but yeah, that scene was crazy because she was probing some dead yet
Yeah,
alive
Yeah.
the only
person,
thing that
and
would have been
then-
more awkward in that scene is if she asked his dead body like how he takes a shower. I keep thinking about that scene from
Athlete's
last week.
foot.
I went back and watched that scene again to think maybe I missed kind of like a subtext to it, but it's,
No,
it's
no, you
more
didn't.
awkward the more you
You
watch
didn't.
it.
It's
so.
way
it's super
awkward.
awkward.
All right, so let's go back now. So after the green light drug happens, Pierce gets in the office and stuff. He calls Peter Gamby, whatever, and they find out that it's one of Jefferson's old
his
friends,
old friends from
called
high
Two
school.
Bits.
Two Bits.
Two
Two
Bits.
Bits was maybe my new favorite character.
He goes.
Who didn't
Dumb-
love Two Bits? He
Dumb
was
as
awesome.
a post.
He goes to where Two Bits is. He talks to him. He's like, "I'm not going to tell you anything." And then he-
Nonchalantly walks into the bar
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
love how he
whatever,
said-
That was
Rio."
awesome.
He sat
Everybody
down.
just let one guy's crawling out the window as
I
soon
know.
as he saw it. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing it. And Two Bits is like,
Well, he comes. Well, at first Pierce comes as him, and then he
Well,
doesn't
yeah.
get any info.
Yeah.
Comes back as Black
Black
Lightning,
Lightning and
and then he
scares
gets
the shit out of
yeah he
him.
gets in a fight with some of the people, and then Two Bits he talks to Two Bits and gets
that was
information.
Two Bits
funny.
makes a good case. He's like, 25 years for
yeah.
what I did? You know?
Yeah, and then he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't do that. Before
He's
and
like,
then he,
I won't do it again, I promise.
so funny. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
before
Two
you
Bits will return.
Oh,
before you knock
absolutely.
me out, which I thought was hilarious. Can we get a picture together? And
Oh
he's
my
like,
god, I
"No!"
started laughing.
That was
I
funny.
started laughing. I was like, finally,
know,
we have some comedy
that
in
was
here.
funny.
And it
That
was also
funny.
very meta in how they addressed. He's like, Two Bits is like, listen, I know your MO. You're going to knock me out.
Yeah.
You're going
Yep.
to call the
Call the
cops. And then
cops.
I'm going to be screwed. So maybe I can just talk to you for a second.
It's like, can I just get a selfie?
You can
Can
see
I
some
just-
begrudging like humor out of
Yeah.
Black Lightning. He was like, yeah, it's all right. Like, we're old
No,
friends.
I
I'll
had-
hook you up this
that
one
whole-
time.
Yeah, that whole selfie scene though, that was pretty funny.
It was pretty
I
funny.
was laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then the woman. So Alfred, I feel like
Alfred,
Alfred
Peter.
knows the daughter has the powers now, and he's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
keep
putting
it
two
from
and two together.
Jefferson. He'll
For
keep
sure.
it from Jefferson for a little bit,
sure.
and then
He analyzed the drug.
yeah.
He's completely Alfred. It's crazy.
It's
and then
crazy how-
to drive home the Alfred parallel, all of a sudden Black Lightning has the Batman powers. He's got
the
Batman
Vision.
suit.
The
Exactly.
Bat-Vision.
Yeah, and he's
Like-
he's seeing electrical stuff, which I guess just keeping in theme with
the electrical
electricity.
thing. But Batman has that too. The
exactly.
Vision and stuff. And
He's
it's like,
beating up drug dealers,
Yep.
asking where Tobias is.
Yeah.
Like,
And he has
"Swear
that
to
deep
me."
voice. Yep.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
also another thing that I don't like is his costume. We touched base on
You
this.
said
it looks
that last
weird,
week.
doesn't
But
it?
no, but not just the body part of it, the
Uh-huh.
mask itself. Like you could still know that's Jefferson. Like
Exactly.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
if
Because
I
his
saw
beard
him-
is very
Yep.
distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And-
can see
yeah.
that.
It's true.
Um,
And also it's just kind of a small thing, but his sunglasses, they go opaque and transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When,
Why
so
not?
you
when he
know.
feels like it, like it doesn't.
It's
I
when
don't
he
like
doesn't
those
want to
in-
show his face. I don't know why you just don't keep it always in the sunglasses.
I would get the Diggle ones where it actually lights up your face more, and I would put John Diggle on the front of my just to make
Get
sure
a
people
like
knew.
a
Just to
full
make-
face mask so you can cover up
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
'cause
Get the
then
Batman mask.
people are gonna
honestly.
no.
You could just get
Yeah,
that.
just turn
Electric
into
Batman, which Batman already has an electric suit. It's very. This has
Yeah,
all already
this is-
happened. Yeah.
It's Batman actually. That's
So,
what this
one
shows.
thing I want to mention is the random ass scene where Tobias' sister just rolls in from Miami. By the way,
yeah.
I liked her.
driving a beautiful DB Aston Martin.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, are you?
I'm glad
effing
you noticed
shit-
that.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge car person.
Tori from
Tori.
Miami.
Tori from Miami, but literally she's driving in this beautiful DB convertible Aston Martin. At first, I thought it was a Ferrari.
Oh
because
no.
of the taillights.
Yeah.
But then I looked at it and I was like, she's driving an Aston Martin from Miami,
Mm-hmm.
going into this drug-related place, and she's like, "I'm gonna help you, big brother."
Right.
Yeah.
I was like,
He's like feeding piranhas or whatever.
"Oh
it
my!"
is.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, yeah, a rat.
With
And I'm just like, really? They're gonna introduce this girl who's probably only gonna last a couple episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's gonna be like,
We'll
I'm
see.
gonna help you bring down Black Lightning, and comes up with all these plans for Tobias, and Tobias is like, oh yeah, I could have do that. Like,
Mhm.
you didn't think about it yourself?
Yeah, I didn't think we needed any more support.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a fan of Tobias, so
He's a very weak
anything
villain.
that kind of points to him being around longer, like his sister showing up. I was like,
Yeah, it was just
He's
weird.
definitely a weak villain. I feel he's just
he is, but he's backed
He
up
is.
by Jill Scott, which is going to make
yeah,
a big
like
difference.
Lady Eve.
Yeah,
and-
Lady Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I really felt bad for what's the
Khalil?
other Khalil, and what's the other daughter's name?
Jen. I
Jen?
made sure. Yeah.
Khalil and yeah.
I
That
feel,
was sad.
I feel bad for him. Also, I feel bad because she's like, I don't want to do track, but at the very end when he's just like looking at the track stars going,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I thought that was funny. Like, so he's in the hospital, with his spinal cord cut in half, and he's
when he
watching
gets the
track
news,
and field.
he's watching track. Well,
Yeah.
that's because it's what he used to do.
No, I know, but track and field's on TV like 2 times a year. It just seemed kind of funny. Like, of
No,
all
it's
the things
not.
to watch.
No, it's not. Track is on not all the time, but
Is it really?
You got her mad.
Yes.
You
I
got
never
her
see
mad.
it. I mean, I'm a fan of track and field, but
yes.
it just seemed somewhat humorous. And then you got the worst nurses in the ward
Oh, yeah.
outside.
Oh my
like,
God.
worst.
What's he
Talking
wasting
about
his
it.
time for? This.
Yeah.
I was like, those nurses are terrible. And at the end of the episode, I was like, oh, the nurses were right. Oh, the nurses might have done him a
Yeah,
favor
which
right there.
which by the way, you said Khalil will walk again.
He will.
You still think he'll walk again?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
would put money on it. Absolutely.
Maybe
This
he'll
is
get a
not-
chip like Felicity has.
Yeah, I
right.
mean-
this is general hospital rules where anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah,
Grey's
yeah.
Anatomy.
Exactly. Yeah, they're gonna.
Oh, this is
electrify his spine or something.
this is a fun little thing I noticed. Jen, the younger daughter, did you see like her earrings? They were lightning bolts.
Oh, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
I wasn't paying
That's a little
attention.
thing. I don't know. I just
That's funny.
noticed it. But
I just felt
the
bad
lightning
because she
bolts.
was just,
Yeah.
I felt like this episode she was a side character.
Yeah, I don't know.
She was.
And she
She wasn't
decided
really
to
in
quit track, and it's like I feel like
yeah.
when she told Khalil was like, "Oh,
He's like, if I
Yeah.
could do it now, I would. And
Yeah,
she
like,
was kind of like, oh.
yeah." Her
alright.
quitting track was kind of just why, you know?
But yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. This episode, I don't know. I'm still like up in the air with Black
Yeah, no,
Lightning, and
I get
I
it.
have a feeling, sad but true, that it will be canceled.
Yeah.
Well, for next
Well,
year,
just-
they are signed on for 13 episodes this year, so there's
Just-
9
Which
more?
is not good because usually it's 23.
Well,
Yeah.
Legends' first season was 14. They're doing the
Well,
same
yeah, it
where
was like
they
a
do the
test
second,
run.
yeah,
It was
the
like a
second
test.
half, which Legends turned out to be great.
And just to finish up Black Lightning,
The ending.
it ends, with Tobias being like, "Hey, I'm paying for your medical bills. I'm giving you all the gifts," and
And Black Lightning did everything to
right,
you.
Yeah.
it's like we got to destroy his reputation.
So that's
Yeah.
again a little fishy. Like how if he gets convinced that Black Lightning did that, like if Khalil gets convinced, like,
You know he's
Wha-
going to. That's where
but
it's
like
going to go.
I understand, but like why? Like that he
Because Black
didn't,
Lightning
though,
didn't
like-
do. Well, if you think about it, if you go back to the previous episode, Black Lightning just stood there while he got shot.
Yeah.
So technically, if he says Black Lightning, this is what he did, then he'll be like, oh yeah, this I'm putting
Well,
two
he
and two
kicked the
together.
hornet's nest is probably what they're alluding to a little bit.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But Black Lightning will be back next week.
Yeah, that's on next week.
So that concludes Black Lightning. And last but not least, we're going to talk about this awesome episode of Arrow.
Oh,
yeah,
great episode.
So
I
many
think.
things.
Yeah.
So many
coming
things
together.
happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
all
got
the villains you thought were villains maybe aren't.
It was crazy. I don't even know where to begin because.
So it starts with Chris. Did you like how it starts when they go into that warehouse and then there's like 70 TVs of
I was like,
Caden James.
he's such a genius. Pick a TV. I was.
Going from
it's
one
like
to
one
the
side,
other to the other.
and then it just makes
It's like, oh, Mr. Queen, like, no, I'm over here on this
it
screen
makes
over here.
Oliver
It's
and
like,
Diggle
yoo-hoo, over
looks,
here.
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
so dumb because they're like, oh yeah, why don't you just hey, we have something to tell you.
I
Like,
know,
what?
it was a little goofy.
If I was Oliver, I would have like shot one of the TVs.
One of the TVs.
I'm surprised you didn't. I would have taken one of the TVs out to the hallway and had like a chat with it.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to do it. Go bad.
So Dinah still annoying.
Oh my
she's going
god,
after
so
Laurel.
annoying. I can't stand her.
I was starting to like Dinah a little bit this episode.
Oh.
Nope.
Mostly because
Why?
she maybe had the best action sequence that I've seen.
Fight
I don't want
wise.
to say in the entire series.
Fight wise, yes.
It was one of the best because I actually bought it from Dinah. She was pissed off. It was like
Yeah.
kind of like I'm coming for vengeance kick.
I get it.
But
It was
that
an
whole
emotional
how
fight.
they directed that scene and when she's kicking everybody's ass and it actually goes down a level. And,
Yeah,
and
we talked about the
Yeah,
camera.
I
no,
was
that-
really impressed with that.
The camera work was great.
Yeah.
But her as a character, I feel like I'm still pretty annoyed with her, and I'm
Yeah, I mean,
annoying.
she's
Very
going
annoying.
after
I get it.
Laurel and Lance
I
is
get
like,
it, but like Oliver makes a point where it's like you have to save the city versus your vengeance,
Right.
And everyone agreed with Oliver,
right. I mean,
even
yeah, 'cause-
even Mr. Terrific, who had the cheesiest entrance. May I ask?
Which one?
I forgot exactly what scene it was, but like he like enters to pick up the two bad guys. One of the bad guys, and he like comes in and like crosses his arms like, yeah, Mr. Terrific. Here.
Oh yeah, and they do a
And I was
close
just
up
like,
on him.
I was
and
like,
it's oh my
really?
God.
How
I mean, Mr.
cheesy.
Terrific is pretty cringy in my opinion. I don't find him.
I don't find him a superhero at
I don't
all.
like.
got
I
the
don't. I
tech.
don't like
No.
the mask
The
he
mask.
has. Like he's got to paint like the end of the T on his face every time they go out into battle, and the fair play jacket. That's actually kind of a nice looking jacket.
It's a
but-
cool jacket.
It's a cool jacket.
Yeah, which is too bad because I like the character. I just
Yeah.
don't like him.
Well,
when
you got
he's
the T
doing the
spheres,
terrific.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
well,
are
that's
cool.
cool. Well, he's very tech savvy.
Yeah.
Speaking of tech savvy, did you see the Helix headquarters and what all the screens in the background? I was like, you had that much time to put everything together?
Yeah.
You know, that was obviously the layer that the other team is using. It was exactly the same
Right,
room.
and they used
Yeah,
it for that.
At first, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, like they're gonna like ambush the other team. You know, maybe kill them and just get them out of the way at this point. But then they just didn't reference it. We're going to shoot it from the east side, not the west side.
Right,
So it'll look
so
like
it-
two
yeah.
different rooms.
Angles.
But yeah, definitely a TV sale in Star City because you can get them so cheap. They're everywhere.
TVs.
That was
So yeah, what
crazy.
ends up happening is, Oliver tracks down Caden. We get a Flash appearance. Obviously, Grant Gustin wasn't it. It was
For
just
for
special
a
effects.
hot second, which was pretty cool.
I love
He's
it.
like, I have an idea, and
I
all of a sudden you
love
see the
that.
flash
Can
bolt.
I tell you, there's so many episodes in the Arrowverse in general, like Arrow, Legends, where they're caught in such a time thing that it's like, oh, we can't do this. Then I'm like, okay, just call a Flash. And it, literally, that's what happened. I was like, oh, if you can't just call Barry. It's fine. And like he
But,
shows up,
yeah.
bam, bam, he's there.
Yeah.
But as Chris was saying, I think like in the Arrowverse, they already knew that he was out of prison.
Right. So yeah, because he got out technically.
Right. We're
Right.
assuming that the shows match up
Yeah, they do.
chronologically.
They
and
do,
yeah.
yeah.
I thought that I was actually impressed when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, Barry's in prison." Oh, no, he's not. He's actually
Right.
Yeah,
out.
he's
and I was like,
actually
"If that
out.
matches up and unintentionally, that's pretty."
Yeah.
That's
They-
pretty
yeah,
cool.
they
It's
do
pretty
do
cool.
that.
I think they do that. It's the
so-
same writers, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they meet up with Caden. They show him the footage is tampered with, and then Caden figures out someone in his
In his team.
and they go. The teams are still split, but they worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Chris.
Which is good. They work together, but at the end, they go their separate ways. Haas.
Haas.
Yeah.
They meet up at that theater. That theater scene was actually pretty cool because you see literally like 90% of the
Yeah.
cast.
Well, can
in
we-
that is
can
cool.
we-
Yeah, we're going past a lot of stuff real quick.
Can we backtrack to William? First
William.
of all, I love that kid.
Ooh,
I love how he
I was
still
hoping William was collateral damage this whole episode. I'm
Really?
waiting
What?
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was stupid and his whole
So,
Yeah,
hey,
that
his
was
whole
so
thing.
Hey,
dumb.
Dad, you need any help with the superhero stuff? Like,
when
no.
when he said that, I was like, what are you? I'm sorry, but like, what are you gonna do? Like,
No, I realize that, but if you put yourself in his shoes, like I would want to be close to my dad. My mom was murdered.
yeah, but
He's
I
in
mean,
the
you got
safe-
your
he's in the safest
stepmom
place in
and-
the city.
Yeah.
That's his dad's only request was stay here.
Yeah.
All you are is a liability in the
I know.
field. And
And
he's
I
like,
just
did
felt-
someone
how did
say
he-
liability?
How did he
wanted to
get
help.
there? Did he just Uber like to?
Yeah,
To the
man,
theater.
I guess.
Like-
You don't put much effort into that.
Called
I also
Bear-
love how he still has the
Flashback pack. Yes, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is cool. That is funny. Like I don't hate William. I actually think it's really nice how completely honest Ollie is with William.
Right.
Yes.
He's like, you said you weren't gonna lie to me. And he's like,
And then
okay,
he's like,
everybody's
yeah.
probably gonna die. Like I told you I
Yeah,
wasn't gonna lie.
I told you the truth. Then he's like, oh,
Right.
And it's a
Like,
good
okay.
dynamic between them. It's like you could really tell how much they love each other as
Yeah.
father and son.
Yeah, you see
I
that.
buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also had Caden James's flashbacks. You had like two
Which
or
is
three of
weird.
them. It was, and
very-
he's
It-
like,
it gave
oh,
you his
he's
backstory and
But only in a
Right.
brief moment where it's like
Yeah.
you meet his son Owen for like a hot second in the
Yes.
basketball court
yeah.
and then he gets taken away and it's like, okay, well that gives us why you were so detached from your son.
right. He
but at the-
risked it all to go see
The final.
The
final
championship
game.
game, man.
The championship
I
game. But it's
mean-
like they didn't dive into their relationship because if
No,
you did, then
no.
you would be like, oh, okay, now I feel why you're so upset that
Yes,
your
right.
son got
Well,
And
you
they
see that-
could have been doing that for episodes too. They could have
Oh,
just
yeah, they
showed
could've.
a little
They
bit
should've.
just to have it in the end.
Yeah.
As soon as you start getting character development on Arrow, you're dead. Like if
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
a main character, you're dead.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Oh, I see. What you're
We start getting Vincent's backstory. Like, get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done.
It's
Well,
a
you
kiss
see
of
how
death.
much the son meant to him in that flashback scene when he's in the container at Argus, when they tell him that his
Yeah.
son died, and he's like, "Oh, he's
I thought
only
that was kind of funny a little
18."
bit. The guy's like, hey, your son died.
Yeah.
And then
Sorry.
he's like, "He's only
Sorry.
18."
Sorry, dude.
First thing I would think of too is like, these guys aren't my friends. This is some
Yeah, I
psychological
would've
attack. I
thought-
wouldn't believe him. I'd
Right.
be like, my
Right.
son's dead.
I
Like,
would've
what are
thought-
the chances of that?
I would have thought like because they were going after him so much that Argus did it, but you know,
That's what I thought it was building to. And actually, so the whole episode builds towards
the main villain at
the
the very
main
end,
villain. Exactly. And that
which
ends up.
is so dumb.
Well,
I'm so
we need
sorry.
to talk about the theater scene before.
All right,
Okay,
let's go
we'll
to
talk
the
about the
theater.
theater
Well,
scene-
and we also have to talk about Laurel really quickly too.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
go with Laurel.
Yeah.
What do we want to talk
Well,
about? here?
because with the whole Dinah and Laura like battling it out, and all of a sudden, like
Yeah.
when they are in the theater, Caden James tells pretty much everyone that she hesitated.
yes,
Like that
Yes.
he noticed,
and that's when Lance like lit up. He was like,
and
"Oh
that's
my
when he was like,
God."
"Oh,
Like, that's
she's
my
worth
Laurel.
saving."
yeah, like
Yeah.
my God."
But it was great when Dinah and Laurel were fighting, and Arrow shows up. I just noticed a lot. The action in this episode was especially good because you actually saw the Arrow being shot, opening up, releasing the wires,
Yeah.
tying them to
Yeah.
the pillar. It was not
Both
some
of them,
special
too.
effect.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
a
pretty
real
crazy.
in-camera effect, and I
Yeah.
was really impressed with that. They did
And-
it twice with
with the
once-
ropes and the sonic wave where
Yes.
Dinah ducks.
It was well done.
It was well done.
It was really
very
well done, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, that whole fight scene was good because you don't get enough fight scenes with Laurel. It's just like her sonic voice,
Yeah.
like screaming. You don't actually
Right.
physically see them
Yeah.
fighting. So.
And it's not the best looking effect, but it's very effective when they can. You have a very good sense of what she can do and her limits to it.
Yeah.
And that actress is just so good as Laurel.
Cassidy?
Katie
Yeah,
Cassidy.
she's so
She's
good.
awesome.
She's one of the original, obviously one of the original characters.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that original dynamic so much.
yeah.
But at the theater scene where she like sonic booms everybody.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
So while they're there, right? So I said 90% of the cast is there, and like, Caden is like. Did you guys notice? Like, he is so helpless in this scene. He's literally in the middle of everyone, and
He
he
gets
holds
knocked
out.
out.
He holds out
I
his
know.
tablet. He's like, "Guys, one of you did it. Can you just tell me who?" And then it's like he's so helpless.
like,
No
he's-
one's on his side at this point.
He's
Yeah.
such a good hacker that he should have known who it was.
Right. Well, all he knew is that it was someone in his
Someone in the
administration,
team.
whatever.
You know-
And like
yeah.
he's so helpless in that point. And then Laurel comes out. He's like, "It was me." I think zero people,
Yeah, nobody
viewers
believed that.
like believed that,
Yeah.
except Dinah, which pissed me off.
Well, that's because she wanted
was
it.
so
Yeah,
short.
she that was just an excuse for her. Yeah,
but
I don't
hate
think
how
she really believed it.
She yells at the teams like, "How are you guys all blinded by this?" I was like, "Can you shut up?" Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no one
So I wasn't
believes
hating
that.
Dinah. Dinah reminds me of kind of how Arrow has acted a lot in the early scenes, so it
True.
kind of didn't really bother me. I kind of hate how they're judging her when they went along with Oliver doing it for like 2 seasons, you know, of like,
Yeah.
here's what we should do, but I'm making an emotional decision because I have something against this person. That's very familiar Arrow to me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When Laurel's there, the dampener thing breaks, and she does
that was
her
funny.
yell. And you know what I was thinking? She does her canary yell and hits the bomb, and I'm like, that didn't do anything.
No,
She
it was
literally-
remote trigger. That's why.
That doesn't cause anything. Though.
Apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't really think about that. I was looking at that scene. I watched it a couple times, and like I said, I was just really impressed with the way that they directed the
Yeah,
action in this
that
episode.
was
If
impressive.
you
There was a
go
lot of
through,
action.
you see
Yeah.
everybody react, and not just kind of some dumb fall down. It was just really well done. The only bad part was Anatoly kind of pops out. I don't know how old that guy
He's like,
is.
"Boo."
Nobody's buying it. That he's like taking it over. You see him like do some like dance with the gun, and he has
Oh
it.
my god, too
He's
funny.
like, okay, but the other stuff was so good. I don't care.
But I have to mention one thing. When everyone broke out into their own fight scene, I was like, "Where's Oliver?"
Yes, yeah, I thought that too. But then I guess he was knocked out by the canary cry. That's the only thing. I
no,
can
he
think of.
was
No.
sheltering William.
He was sheltering William, but at the same time, you didn't have a cameraman zoom in
No,
on
you
where.
didn't.
Right.
No, so I was like, "All right, Diggle's fighting this one. Dinah's doing that.
I was thinking that too. I was like, I guess
The other
he got
guys are
knocked out.
Yeah,
maybe, but
I don't know.
I mean,
but,
somewhere there's footage of William and Arrow in a corner somewhere on the cutting
that
room
scene
floor.
was cute.
yeah, like,
He's like, you don't know how much I love you. I thought it was cute at the very end because then
Yeah.
Kate and James saw that and was just like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish.
Yeah,
I had
it
that.
always seemed weird that he was willing to go through and kill everybody. I didn't get
And
that
then all of a
motivation
sudden,
a
like,
lot.
yeah.
And then, but
Then again, I don't think he was the best villain anyway. So
no,
it
he
doesn't-
wasn't.
Right.
And he's
But-
certainly a big name to get for that
Yeah.
role, but because he's in it for 5 episodes or something, it makes
But
more
like,
sense.
quickly, let's wrap up because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
But let's wrap up the ending with Lance and Laurel, and then also the ending with
The big bad
Kate and
finally
James.
Lance
revealed.
and
Yeah.
Laurel, go ahead.
You want to do that one first?
Yeah, do that first, and we'll end on the ending.
So Lance apparently Black Siren gets injured. Or
Yeah,
the
she gets-
gun-
She gets
the gun
shot in the
backfired.
stomach.
Shot by Dinah,
Yeah.
which it made it
What-
seem like she died, but
No,
then she
no,
was
I
fine.
think it backfired from her sonic wave and then hit her. I think that's what happened.
Oh, really? I thought. I actually I remember laughing at the end of the
Dinah-
episode because like Lance is up like doing his work and he goes into the
Yeah.
car. He's like, "You're still bleeding out back there,
Yeah.
right?" Like,
He-
I love
she
your daughter,
was.
but
I know.
Well, no, because when Dinah and
It's like,
Laurel
she's
are
gotta get to
fighting,
the
Dinah
ER.
gets Lance's gun and shoots Laurel. And then she does the canary cry, which maybe like
Yeah, I just
dampen
figured maybe it
down a
slowed it
little.
down. Yeah, that's what I
but,
thought,
And
yeah.
that's she gets shot.
But
and
yeah,
she's
but
in the car.
it's after that the scene goes black, but then it comes back up with Lance in a police car with Laurel in the back
In the
seat.
back,
in the
yeah.
back seat from this weird point of view
It was a weird
shot that
angle.
was
Yeah.
there for like 5
yeah.
seconds. I don't know what that was.
I was like, what is this
But
gonna
he
do?
was
Like,
basically saying like, I'm gonna save you.
Right.
You're gonna be my
a
Laurel.
little bit creepy, kind of like my Laurel's in there somewhere, like, you know, it puts the
I-
lotion on
I
its
just-
skin type situation. I was like, ugh.
I hate. Someone said during the episode where it's like, Lance, she is not your daughter, and I was like,
yeah.
I know. Like, can we stop? I get it. There's some good
Perpetual
in her. Whatever. Yeah, I get it. There's good in her. I don't. Whatever. That's not your daughter though. Stop. Because like it said, it's a little creepy. He keeps treating her like, I know my Laurel's in there. It's like,
Well, I think it was Speedy who said that. She was like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you're not.
yeah, that's
You'll
not.
never get your Laurel back. That's not your Laurel."
It's It's.
But then we get to the big reveal.
Then we get to the huge
at
reveal,
the end.
which
So-
I did not like.
And
I'll
when
say. Sorry.
Go ahead, no, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, oh, okay. The reveal was crazy, but then like after I was like, like
I'm a
'cause now
little let
it's-
down by it too.
because usually when you reveal the villain, season 1 was crazy because you have a backstory of the villain. Like I mean, take last year, Chase. He's working with Oliver the whole
Oh,
time,
he
so
was the best.
the reveal was like, holy crap! Like now it's like we don't really know Ricardo Diaz.
And
like,
then all of a sudden he like is saying like, "Oh, the police captain is on my payroll."
Is on- yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
like-
payroll for what? Where? Who are you?
like the reveal when he's talking to Caden in that room, I was like, oh, this shit's crazy.
Well, also,
But then it's
Kate
like-
and James knew what was going on because he took the video camera feed
Right.
off,
yeah,
and he
Right.
knew something
Yeah.
was up. And then when
was
he
like,
showed
"Oh,
up,
man."
like, and then at the very end when he's like, "I killed your son," and
Yeah.
like stabs him in the neck.
I know he's cold too. He's like, "I'll tell your son hello for me." I was
Yeah.
like, "Whew."
But like, this actor himself always plays a villain in
Yes.
everything
yeah,
he's done. But
yeah.
I just don't buy it in this one. I really don't.
I'm with you. It felt a little underwhelming. You know, honestly, where I thought this was going and I was about to love it when he was like, somebody hacked me and they had the flashback showing Elena. I thought it was her. I thought the big bad was going to be Elena.
Yes, I
She's
thought
in
so
the
too.
team.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
they're going to turn around and Elena's going to be
Yeah.
like, gotcha. And
Who
that
knows?
would have
Maybe
been,
she's on their payroll.
I think that may be coming, but that would have been awesome
Yeah.
to have Elena as
I
like
think so,
really
too.
pulling the
But-
strings. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like I said, like usually the main villain, you have some type of emotional factor, some
there was
background, like even Raish, like there was some background there. Like Ricardo, it's like Oliver took him down one time, and now Ricardo
Yeah.
Diaz wants to
I'm
literally
just
take
not-
over the city.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, well, I think maybe
It's
he was setting it
diabolical.
up to. Maybe he's trying to look weaker than he really is. I don't know. I mean,
And-
Well,
Yeah.
but
I
usually
read
the
on
viewer knows like more about
More
the villain.
backstory
Like we knew
about it.
Chase. We knew Chase. He was the
From the get-go, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean
But, like-
Diaz is diabolical though. I mean he found out the biggest hacker, Caden James, went after him, knew that he would end up going after Oliver, the biggest hero in the city, and then take him down. Like that is
Yeah.
diabolical, which is
Yeah.
you know, like
I don't know. Well, I just don't like the villain period from this season, and I think, like you said, Chris, the ratings have been down for Arrow, which kind of sucks because I really love Arrow.
I really liked this episode too. And then just the
It was a
reveal-
good episode. It's just it took me for a turn where I was like, really, like
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I wasn't anticipating the kind of mid-season
No.
finale it ended up being.
Yeah.
I would have been fine not even knowing who the main villain was this episode, honestly. I would have been like, all right, now they
Yeah.
got to look. Because then Caden gives over, like, oh, here's the people that it could be, like, part of his, like, organization.
It's not
like,
a good
oh,
enough
okay.
villain. This
I
season
agree.
is just
And it's
with
literally
Caden
just
James
him-
and this new guy.
We'll,
I'm like,
we'll
I'm
see
not-
what happens with it. I read online that this villain is Dragon. That's not somebody I'm familiar with, but there were some people online where it popped up on my feed. Like they were
okay.
really excited. Like, oh my God, Dragon's on Arrow. I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
so.
he's a villain in
Okay,
in
because
Green
I don't
Arrowverse.
follow Green
Yeah.
Arrow very much in the comics.
But if he's Dragon, I'm very disappointed because I think you could cast someone a lot.
Well, I know he's an expert martial artist. That's all I know about
Yeah,
Dragon.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
Martial arts.
Like the best.
It's
apparently.
like kung
Yeah.
fu crazy,
yeah.
but can you picture this guy being
Yeah.
a kung fu like?
Picture Iron
mean,
Fist with charisma.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's basically, and his motive is he literally just wants to take over and rule the city with his mob. Like, that's literally
Yeah, well,
what it
pretty
is.
much. That's what he said at the very end. Like you could rule the city versus blowing it up.
That's kind of the thing with Arrow. There's not a lot of places to go where that's a lot of the goals are like that, unfortunately.
yeah.
You know, all the personal vendettas have been handled. Now it's like
I
failure
mean,
city.
it was a good episode, but I wasn't pleased with the ending.
Yeah,
I
really-
liked the episode.
The episode
in
was
general.
good. It was just not for a mid-season finale. It wasn't what I expected.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I'm interested to see where
Yeah.
it's going. I got to give Kirk Acevedo a chance because I love Charlie from Fringe. That was his character then.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
we'll see what happens.
So that's it
Yeah.
for our recap. Arrow comes back March 1st.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones come back. Flash is February 26th.
Yeah, it's all that
Um,
week.
Supergirl not till April.
Supergirl not
and,
till April.
Black Lightning is still going, and Legends starts on Monday. So I'm super excited
Legends.
for that.
We'll finally talk about Legends on
So
Mon-
next
on,
week,
next week.
we'll just be talking about
Legends
and
and
Black
Black
Lightning.
Lightning.
It'll
Yeah.
be a shorter episode.
But Legends
Shorter
we need to
episode.
talk about because I'm starting to
We'll
love that
recap
show.
Yes.
on that.
Yeah.
So thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of our podcast. We'll be
Yeah.
back next week with episode 4. A little shorter,
Yeah.
short and sweet. But,
Might come out earlier
yeah.
than Friday too. We talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But
Look
again,
for
thank
us.
you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah. SoundCloud,
next week.
iTunes.
Bye.
SoundCloud,
SoundCloud,
iTunes.
iTunes.
We have an Instagram.
YouTube.
page.
Instagram, look us up,
Instagram.
Vigilante-Verse.
Right. We're right outside your window. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere,
Yeah.
lurking.
That's right.
All right.
Next week.
Bye.